Alright guys, so in this video I'll be talking about Mafia Definitive Edition and giving an overall review of the game and my thoughts to see if it's worth buying in 2022. Now, I didn't play the original first Mafia game that released in 2002. In fact, any other games in the series, so I literally went in completely blind. I had also seen some gameplay as well as LA Noire, which always both took my fancy, but I never really got round to playing them. Until now, where after finishing the game I was pleasantly surprised. The thing is, there isn't many games out there that kind of follow the same world or theme, therefore I really wanted to see if it would actually be executed well, and it 100% was. From the engaging story to the gameplay and the setting, especially being remade 18 years later, the graphics obviously were drastically improved in the game, as well as the set of characters that I grew to love. The city of Lost Heaven or Haven is incredible, and it really felt like, although I haven't seen much of it, I did get really immersed into the 1930s time, as well as, small little details of some really impressive like lighting and reflections, especially when it's raining in the game. Although that might be pretty standard in late recent video games, but it really did a good job at it. In a way, I'm kind of glad that I didn't play the first game due to it being a really new and a breath of fresh air pretty much, because as I mentioned, there isn't many others that follow the same theme, or at least I haven't played them. The gameplay and gun handling may feel slightly awkward, but I think it was something I actually enjoyed because of it feeling old in a way, if you get where I'm coming from. I managed to get more and more used to the driving mechanics compared to earlier on in the game, which was really fun to get to grips with and actually see how much smoother I got. Another small thing I liked was how it just takes you into the next mission right away once you're done, and it doesn't really feel like a drag and makes the pacing of the game a lot better than, driving a really long distance every time to the next. Although the game does allow you to skip unnecessary driving sections, basically a setting that turns off car journeys that you might not want to do, and it won't actually have any effect on the story, you can just skip them. Although, like I said, I did enjoy the driving, but with this being a before you buy review, I thought I'd mention that because some players may feel the need to use it, and maybe next time I replay the game I might actually turn that on. The map of the Mafia is fairly small, or at least smaller compared to other games that may use giant maps. In a way, this is actually pretty good because a lot more of the locations are actually used, where a big map may have had like filler areas that are kind of pointless in a way. With it being, an open world, you can, freely explore everything if you wish. There's 20 chapters throughout, which although it's a 2002 remake, they did of course add in more. There's a lot of variety in the different chapters that don't get repetitive, but because of how different they all are, with plenty of different change in scenarios and environment. The story is done incredibly well and fairly historically accurate, with Tommy Angelo explaining his life and how he got into the crime at the start of the game, with many different timelines and flashbacks over the course of around 15 years, giving a very engaging story of how his life kind of changed, wondering to yourself after every chapter what actually happens next. I really enjoyed it, following it all through in that world with that amazing narrative of a mafia story. The gameplay, like I mentioned, with the gun combat, but also overall it can feel clunky in terms of vaulting and taking cover in fights, which, like I said, I wasn't really bothered, and it doesn't ruin the experience to me and many others, but it could be improved for other people. However, like I said, it is a remade version of a 2002. Of course, they did add stuff which obviously they didn't want to make a completely different game to the first, so you have to kind of take it with a pinch of salt. You also can't forget the 1930s car radio music that adds to the overall vibe and experience of the setting when driving around. So overall, I would say it's definitely worth buying, especially if you haven't played the first one, and even if you have, it's just an improved version as well as adding other stuff that you may want to dabble in, and it gives you a fun and engaging story of Tommy Angelo's crime life in the Mafia with an immersive setting that fits the theme, hitting the nail on the head with an accurate Mafia world. So that is pretty much everything in this video. If you enjoyed it and found it helpful, then hit that like button down below, and if you're new to the channel and would like to, you can also subscribe to the channel for more gaming videos. I hope you enjoyed it, and bye bye.